the state of Tennessee has given us a grant and called us a model district for foundational skills in early grades, which is quite an honor. And so they have asked us to document what we're doing all year long with regards to ELA in the early grades and foundational skills. And so part of that is for us to videotape different meetings that as we are going along. They know that we are meeting with each of the K2 grade levels. And so we are videotaping some of them and we'll submit some of them to be part of the library for the state. So also we are uploading our agendas, all of our paper documents, all of our planning, so that in the event a different district this year or next year wants to learn from us of how we are doing this rollout, then they can go on the Best for All website and find our videos, find our documents, and that's pretty, validating, encouraging. So we are going to videotape today, and it might be on there, and you guys might be on this. Be on your best behavior. We do appreciate you giving us this time. We find that this is a timely thing, and that we want to give you all the information of the year with foundational skills and sound source activities, and let you then go forward planning and know that you will have support from me and from Mandy as we go through the year. How many of you attended this Reading 360 training? All of you, perfect. So you know a lot about the science of reading and the high quality materials that we have to use this year. So it's a super, super good time for a best year ever when it comes to early grades and all we are doing. I am very encouraged in that we will have foundational skills, sounds first activities, pre-K through second. And we have in K2, we have the curriculum for foundational skills. So everything is aligned. We have you, the great staff, to implement it. And so it's going to be a great year. One thing that I want to give you as a tool and a resource is a planning guide, so that as you go through the year, as you start a new unit, which is skills, you can use this to think about and collaborate during your PLC. So as you start a new unit with foundational skills, you will look at your lessons and then come together as a PLC and talk about these items, such as we start this unit, what does the introduction tell us we need to consider? How does this unit fit into the scope and the sequence of the year? And what do we want kids to know and be able to do at the end of this unit? Then what foundational skills will students have to master to be successful in this unit? And as a team, discussing that and how do we emphasize those skills that we know kids have to have? And then think about student misconceptions when it comes to foundational skills, such as in first grade, we know that often kids come to us and they have difficulty understanding the difference between the short I and the short E. We know that. So as a grade level team, we discuss that and any other skills that are difficult for students and talk about strategies that we can use up front to make sure we help them with those. So again, when you're starting that unit, foundational skills, think about these questions together as a team. Then with your knowledge domain, what key content will students need to be successful? What are 3 to 5 key takeaways that we want them to know by the end? And then what vocabulary is in this unit and what literacy skills are we connecting back with our skills curriculum? And that's awesome that we have the two that really connect this year. And then you have that great knowledge literature at your fingertips to use. So this is one tool we are passing out to everyone to be able to use this year. The other thing is the IPG, and I don't know if any of you were able to attend the system-wide day when we had a session on the IPG or not, but IPG is Instructional Practice Guide. This is a tool that the state has given out. It's still in draft form, but we are going to use it this year as a conversation tool, and we're terming it as Leaders as Learners. We've given it to all of our principals, assistant principals, and learning leaders, and we've asked them to go into classrooms and ask questions about the curriculum, ask questions of what students are doing, and talk with you about the instruction so that they can learn from us as we go through this year with all of our skills and knowledge and Sounds First. So in this IPG, there are 3 core actions. The first one is using systematic Sounds First materials. We know that we do have that research-based material, and we know that we have the Sounds First activities to incorporate this year. So they might ask, what materials are you using that are high quality? And you can tell them about those things. They might ask about what effective instructional practices are you using? And you could talk to them about how you're modeling when it comes to phonemic awareness. You're modeling the blending, you're modeling the segmenting, and you're getting corrective feedback. As they do those practices, you are helping them to know how to model, how to blend, how to segment, and those things. The last one is about student engagement and how effective are the practices that we are providing for kids as they practice these skills, these foundational skills. Is it worthy of their time, essentially? They might be using those foundational skills as they read in the decodable readers. They might be writing in response to literature that has those skills embedded in them, and they are actually using their skills as they write. So it's thinking about these 3 core actions, and as our admin come in and they ask questions, they will be learning about the curriculum, they will be learning about high quality materials and those practices, so that they are also able to support you as you go through the year. Any questions about that at all? Okay. Well, the other thing we're really excited about is the Sounds First activities. Did everyone get the manuals that we passed out? Mandy actually came up with the idea for that resource, and so I appreciate her work there. I'm going to let her talk about the Sounds First activities we're doing this year.
Okay, so I gave you guys just a little overview calendar of how we will roll out the Sounds First curriculum. We're so excited because you guys have already had experience with the skills and then also the knowledge this year. And then we're add this Sounds First piece in. And we had such great success last year with our pre-K teachers and students, and so they just loved it. I mean, the kids grew so much from it. They were introduced, and we've always done beginning and ending sounds, but I don't know, it was just different last year. They were able to hear those beginning sounds, and even ending, which is sometimes tough. They were able to recognize rhyming words and produce rhyming words and have syllables, and so we just really were excited about that. And the nice thing about the Sounds First activities is that they can be just part of your, daily transitions. They can be, and if you have extra time, then that's great. If you have a 15-minute block of time, that'd be perfect. But if you don't, you can always work them in through the transitions throughout the day. So this kind of gives you an overview of the time that we're going to start. We're going to plan to start that after Labor Day. I know some may have already done that. They have kind of played around with it. And if you have, that's great. If you haven't, that's okay too. So we just thought it would be important for us to have a little bit of extra time for rules and procedures and that kind of thing at the beginning of the year. So we will be rolling this out after Labor Day, and I plan to create some videos that will help you. And just with that, I mean, some of you may be fine with that, that's not a big deal, but I know our pre-K teachers were like, maybe I can read it, but I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, so it was helpful to have some videos just to show them and, to help them with their rollout of that too. So, and I also gave you the scope sequence, which you already have, it's part of the manual, but I thought that way you can kind of see that all on one page. And if you'll notice, there's some shifts within the activities, and so they do change a little bit. And that's kind of when I would create a new video for teachers, like, maybe a week before that, so that they would know, okay, that's what that looks like. I'm ready for that. No big deal. It's no big deal when it changes, So if you need that, but they'll be there. But if you don't, that's great too. And I may be calling upon you too to collaborate with, to think about ways like, is this working for kids, or do we need to change it? Does it need to look different? Would it be easier another way? So again, I'm going to reach out to you because you are the experts. And so that's exciting to me. I'm just super excited about doing that. We're also going to be coming around with coaching, and so I'll be doing that with you guys this year. That's something I did for the last 2 years with Grade K, and we have so many good conversations, and it's just so exciting because I can be in other classrooms and see wonderful things going on, and some teachers might say, hey, I'm struggling with this, if you have any ideas. Well, I've been able to see other things, and I can, suggest things that work for them. So it's been really successful, and I think those conversations have been really valuable over the last 2 years. So I'm excited about that. I will come in, or I'll schedule a time with you. It won't be I won't just pop in. You'll know exactly when I'm coming and that kind of thing. Of course, I'm not in any kind of evaluation role or evaluative role. I'm here just to be your support. So, but I will schedule a time, and I'll just come in, and we're going to do what we call kid watching. So it's more of me just coming in and kids knowing that, my face, so they don't think every time I come in, who is that? Why is she here? So, they'll be comfortable with me being in here. And then we'll just kind of have a reflection, not that day probably, but another time, just maybe during your planning, that kind of thing, and just talk through if you have any questions or if you have any, ideas or concerns about the new curriculum, we can talk about that at that time too. So, and that'll kind of be go on all throughout the year. So we're excited about that, and I'm here to support you. So please let me know if there's anything that I can do to help in that, in any area, but definitely it sounds first the skills piece. So, let's see. I need you, if you are willing. We are going to be, like you said, videoing a lot of the lessons, and so if you feel comfortable with that, we are going to need to have some videos from Unit 1. So I would love to be able to, come in and just, video some of the lessons. So, and I know your kids would be excited about that too. So be thinking about that. That'll be throughout the year as well. So everybody will have an opportunity, I'm sure, to help us with that. So, but thank you. Y'all have any questions or anything to think of?
Are you filming this one or CKLA?
We'll be doing both. We'll be doing the skills and sounds first.
But not knowledge.
No.
I was just curious
Right.
what all was.
Yes, it's more centered around the foundational skills, but yes, great question, because, that would be a lot.
Like, that's a long.
That's all day long.
I just come in and came out.
That's right. But I know you guys will do an amazing job, and we're excited to share that with everybody in the state. So,
The state's initiative is foundational skills, so we'll be concentrating on the skills units and the Sounds First lessons for our videos. And we do welcome you to volunteer to let us come in. Other teachers can learn from us, and so that's perspective from coming through. What are you thinking?
So I know you said we could do it during like transition, so I think I can speak for all of us in first grade. Like, we're really struggling trying to find like a 15-minute block to get it in there. So how exactly, what do you mean by like, how would we implement it during transitions?
maybe if you were, if you had your morning group, and then maybe just before you went to another activity, it's really quick. And so, you could do one little activity, even because sometimes there'll be 4 or 5 different ones within that one block. And so if you could only do one, like within that time, and then you can do that with your seat, or if you're waiting to, line up or that kind of thing. I mean, it's kind of a teacher says, student says, so it's pretty easy to be able to, they don't have to be, they have to concentrate. I don't mean that, but, it can be done as you're moving and that kind of thing.
So all of it is just oral.
Yes, you don't have to see, you have to see, but they don't have to see.
Exactly.
Is that what it is? It's not like we're doing something else with that video. It's just that
Getting
video
materials
is the
ready,
lesson,
yeah.
right?
That is.
That's
what you will do with your
Yes.
That's
students.
what I thought.
Yes.
Yes, it's pretty easy.
It's not like a whole CK
Right.
lesson.
No.
Unit 1
Right.
lesson that you're trying to squeeze
It's
in.
oral activities, and as Amy said, it's broken down into 3 or 4 different ones. And so you might do a quick activity after your whole group that takes 3 minutes. And then as you're lining up, another one that takes 3 minutes, and it just transitions that way. Do you have a whole hour to teach your skills units and a whole hour to teach your knowledge? No.
We're close.
We're close. We're at like an hour for knowledge and about 50 minutes for skills. And skills does go a little bit quicker.
Okay, well, I know Ms. Robertson talked with me about that, and she was trying to make sure you did have an hour for those, and also an additional 30 minutes, because the state recommends 150 minutes total for ELA in first grade. So when I spoke to her this week, she was working on that, and said she would continue to work out on that. So that may be something
It's
that.
just hard, it's like, with the schedule, I mean, like, for example, CK, the foundations portion is 8:15 to 9, the special classes start at 9, so really you're only doing it 8:15 to 8:59.
So we have those
The
transitions.
transition times are not really factored in, but, and you're more than welcome to take the schedule and play with it, but I have looked at it, we just can't get it all done.
Anyway,
If you didn't have, if we had RTI time where our title kids went to title and you kept the rest of your class, you could fit. But other than that, like,
I'll take a picture and see what we can do, and maybe tell her if it's right.
Or cut our
She can
lines
speak
down.
to me. You need all your kids here for
That's
all
why we
our
have
skills
skills
and your first,
You have CIT pool, you have speech pool, it's just.
yeah, I'll take a picture of that and work with that. So, but good question, good observations. As I said, I know she stopped me a couple of days ago and said she was still working the schedule. I know you've added a new paid teacher, so that may be where she's still working on all of it and coming together. But ideally, you would have that full hour, and even as a total block of time, if not broken up. So we'll talk more about that.
Just, yeah, I mean, things are just gonna have to be, like, something will have to be, I guess, taken away or the schedule arranged. I don't know. We can try it. We're just doing this.
Yeah,
I know.
We really do think this is like the best one.
I love this
Like, it's
schedule.
working.
This is the best schedule I've ever had in my life. But I know it's.
It's not.
But I will say, we teach the CKLA skills, and they usually finish it within the time frame. Because the last bit is either a worksheet or where they're independently working and they finish it.
Yeah, you
You
can
know,
always
that.
finish the worksheet.
But you're working with that other group that has to wait a little longer. But they're on the, if they finish early, flip over to the back and draw.
But this is also the beginning of the year, and the skills review, kindergarten review, so it is easy. I feel like as we progress and the skills get harder, they're not.
You may need that
Yeah.
entire hour. That's how it's done. So yeah, let me look at that. What else are you thinking? What are other things you want to talk about?
It's just learning, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just all learning.
And you had the skills last year, so you went through it. I know it was choppy with the different scenarios, but still you had the skills to get used to. It's adding that knowledge piece to, I know. And it all being comprehensive, one unit together. But I know it's a work in
Like,
progress.
I think the end of September, I'll feel better about things. But it's like
I
right
think I
now,
do
we're
too.
trying to, and a lot of this stuff at the beginning, because this group is very smart. I mean, they know Magic B, they know lens, they know diagrams. I mean, I'm like really impressed.
Awesome.
So what we're doing at CKLA is really easy.
Yeah, they are speaking.
But I've been very proud of just the
They do.
Yes.
They do.
And so, it's very intentional that at the beginning it does review so that we pull everybody along and nobody has a gap anywhere. So it's really important to stick to the script per se as the lessons go so that nobody has any gaps. However, as you are going through and you said someone finishes early and they not flip over on the back, have them write sentences using that skill. Have them do something really productive in that time.
That's what it is. It's like right now, it's flip over to the back and you
Right
have
there.
phrases on the board and they draw it.
is what we're doing today.
I
So-
think it gives you an activity to do in the book, that's what I
And
would
then on
say.
the
Yeah.
back,
Yes.
yeah.
They
And
say,
Gotcha.
illustrate
So-
those phrases.
If you need to challenge them, you can have them write sentences using that or whatever. So,
I've
and that
actually been
extra,
very impressed with this group. When I told them, I said, you know, they teach in 25 years and I've been in first grade for, you know, a long time. I don't think I've ever had as high readers. And I did PSI with them and everybody is on skill 3 through 6 for the PSI levels.
so why do you think that is? Unless you,
And I know they were having a hard time at the beginning thinking, gosh, this is going so slow, or why are we doing this? But in the end, they saw that it paid off.
and that is, I'm gonna quote you, because that's exactly what they told us would happen. The beginning would go slower because you're reviewing, and some parents even might question, why are you going slower? My child knows this. But you, in the end, are pulling everybody along, so at the end of the year, everybody gets there. It's not just that high group, and maybe some middle. It's all of
I
them.
was just shocked at how many new diagrams
Yeah.
of nonsense words.
Yeah.
And blends, and then like Ben was telling me about sneaky E, and I said, did you do that in kindergarten? Sure. Oh yeah, I said, I'm sure Hannah did sneaky in kindergarten. Everybody raised their hand. I thought, oh my gosh, we've never done sneaky in kindergarten.
It's beautiful because across the district, every single child
They've
is getting that.
never done that before.
Yeah, I
So I
know.
was really impressed.
We are setting everybody up for success, and I'm so glad you recognize that. So,
I only had 2 that didn't know all their sounds, and one had speech. Even my speech kids, I could tell, you know how you know the right sound, it might not be the exact, but you know that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
But the only, and then the other one didn't have,
Well, I found it interesting.
she just didn't even, came to Castle Highlands place.
And I would add that all these suggestions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm all,
You
have most of it, that's
We'll
okay.
take it, we'll take it.
Better than you.
You know, this is fitting in, but you know, for, you know, handwriting the letters. But I just think that's, you know, for the rest of the.
People need that a while.
Yes, I know we're gonna need the whole hour.